After having demonstrated to you more about the material and the render system in Fusion360, let me show you now how we can get the textures onto the buttons. Currently they are blank. In this case, I used Gravit Designer to create the interface elements. The way how I did this, so you understand the process, was I did a scan of the remote control, so I plus minus know where all the buttons are. By the way, in case you ask yourself what all these scratch marks are, those are the teeth of my little baby. She chews on it a lot. Then to match this actually to my remote control, I also did a screenshot from the top view of my remote control, so I know exactly where the buttons are. This actually lines up pretty closely. It's a little bit different. And then in this program, which is basically like Illustrator, the reason why I really like working with Gravit Designer is because it's cloud powered, so I can save all my stuff online and work in it through a browser too, while giving me the same elements. Here then I created the individual shapes, for example, for backwards, forward, plane, stop, record, rewind, or whatever that is, the star, etc. And each one I have to save as an individual icon. To do this, then you can use what's called the slice command. So all these green areas can now be exported as individual images. If I go to File, Export, go to Assets, and there you see all the slices. And that's again pretty much standard among all programs: Illustrator, Photoshop, Affinity Photo, Affinity Design, CorelDRAW, and Gravit Designer. They all work the same. If I go to the desktop, they're all the individual files saved as a PNG with a transparent background. That's the important thing. So I only get the information I need and not the rest. Slice 6 looks like it has a gray button, so I have to fix that later, doesn't matter. Let's go to Fusion and let me show you how we can add all these elements to it. I will supply these files for you, so you don't have to create the graphics for yourself. So from this point on, now you can follow the demonstration. We can go to Insert and Decal. Then you have to select a face. Select this one. Go to Select Image, and in this case I think it is the Hulu button. There's the Hulu button. Then the software will load it. I will rotate it, move it, center it, scale it a little bit, and I say maybe 2.4. So I just try to memorize that number and position this one here. Okay, very good. Let's do this one more time. This is now with the Netflix one. Here we set 2.4, I think. So it's the same scale factor. This will actually be the PlayStation View. So I'm just rotating it and then again scaling it 2.4. And let's do one more here. That actually is the Sling TV button on my remote control. Disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with Hulu, Netflix, PlayStation Vue, or Sling TV. There. Okay, so you see that actually works pretty easy. The other buttons for the controls are pretty self-explanatory. Again, here when I put these elements down to get the scale correctly, you want to memorize the scale factor. So between here, each scale was 2.4 for the size. The dial button actually looks complicated. It's not really complicated. Just select this area. Now I might need to figure out which one is the dial button. Nope, there's the dial button. Go to top, rotate this one, and then we can push it to here, and then scale it. Try to center it. Very good. And you see then it copies it on it. It's actually a pretty easy approach. Works pretty good. Decals can be shown or hidden via then the decals folder. And also here, slice 8. Which one is slice 8? Oh, there. So slice is that one. Edit, decal. So you see we can always readjust them afterwards. So in case you make a mistake with the first one or you want to update the graphics, we can easily do it that way. So there's no need to delete it and repeat the same step. And that pretty much is nearly everything in how to add decals to a 3D model in Fusion. You see it's very easy to do. Only a few steps. Select the area on the surface, select the image you want to map over it, move, scale, rotate it, done. The downside is you can't do anything more with it in the render program. So for the Roku it's pretty much okay, but let's say this is actually a print with a glossy material that's more reflective in contrast to the more matte buttons. That's not something we can do in the Fusion render engine. This is then again something I will do in a more powerful render engine. But as you see, this is pretty good when you want to create quick renderings of your design while you're designing and you don't want to be slowed down by the complicated process of creating the renderings. So as a tip, all this Fusion rendering is really good while you design, and then when you're done, then we move everything into a professional render engine and do our final photorealistic renderings. And that's it.